Well, each game's something different, honestly. You look at the last game, and quite frankly, we got beat up front. We got beat out everywhere. I mean, not just up front. It was all over the place. So that was disappointing. Mentally, it was a pretty low game from an ME standpoint for us, but physically, obviously, you saw the result. First couple of games, just a little bit of a slow start. In the first half, and it wasn't. Again, it's not. This is the messaging, right? It's not just the up front. It's the tight ends. It's the receivers. It's the running backs. It's the offense, right? The offense. In the first half of really all the games have been that way, and then the second half we've come on pretty well. So just getting more consistent, fast start, and going from there. We started that way a little bit at Indiana, and then obviously the game kind of got out of hand, as you guys well know. So just the consistency, the way we start, and the execution, and it's collective of an offense, and it's a little bit of a cliche. It's a little bit of maybe we over talked about it, but it's one guy here, it's one guy there, it's one guy here across all 11, and that's as an offense consistently we got to start playing better.
With 5 guys coming back, what was your level of, I don't know, frustration is the right word, but when you're kind of still searching for that consistency with a lot of the same faces up front?
Again, it comes to a lot of different things. I think there's a couple places where I want more consistency at a certain position, and a little bit more physicality at the position. There's others that you have a moment where you play really well, or maybe a guy's trying to do too much and it creates an ME, things of that nature. And then you have a second half like Duke that we played really well, and so I think it's just the consistency across the board. But there's a handful of things if you go back and really look at the film and see where some of the mistakes are actually made, and it does at the end of the day then reflect a little bit back on us. So we have to be better as an offense.
What do you feel like stopped that second half switch from getting flipped this past weekend?
Oh, we were down 31-10 or 30, whatever it was at half. And so when we came back out, you're immediately trying to play catch up. And you can go back and look at the reasons for a lot of us, the reasons we got behind the chains. Your average third down is 9 yards on third down, and you're not going to win any games if that's the case. When we were one of the best in the country in third down percentage last year, half the time we were operating in third and shorts, and so it's much easier to convert those. So we had 7 3 and outs in the game last week, and to be able to overcome that, it's going to be really hard. And when that other offense is scoring at their clip, right, and all of a sudden that game kind of spiraled on you pretty quickly. So the nature of the game, it's not an excuse, but you're not going to be able to come back and go back to some of the stuff that works in the run game. We had 7 runs. And you can't just sit there and take 6 yards on a counter play when you're down 4 or 5 scores. When we got with limited possessions. So we had to come back and get a fast start, be efficient on early downs, and get back after it this week.
You have a game like that. I know you don't want to just throw everything out and start from scratch, obviously. But how deep in the weeds do you get as far as personnel decisions, depth chart issues, scheme, play calling, all that kind of stuff?
Well, I think you evaluate everything. You quite honestly, you got your butt kicked, and you got to look at everything. And that's just what good coaches do. It's what good players do. It happens to everybody, right? And it happens to kids growing up. You get knocked down, and you learn a lot by how you get back up. And that's a message that carries over. Same message I learned as a 5 and 6 year old is going to carry over to the rest of the team, right? It's how we respond, and you have to look at the reasons why this thing happened. You have to look at the guys that maybe played well and did their job, or the guys that didn't. And so, and it's certain plays, right? And what can we do to eliminate that from happening again? Because we're still a good football team. We had a bad night. But that team is going to line up against USC and play their hearts out. So you got to get them back, right? You got to learn from it. You got to own it. Number one, you can't just sweep on the rug. You can't forget about it. But you can learn from it and move on and not let it beat you twice. And that's a critical piece, because you see it from teams all over. You see it, but the way it happened a lot last year. Teams we beat, and the next week they suffered a little bit of a hangover. We can't allow that to happen. So that was a big focal point in practice today: is learning from the mistakes, owning the mistakes, moving on, getting better. and getting back to what we do, what got us here.
Is it more challenging or frustrating that the shortcomings or missteps up front have been different things? I mean, there's not one area he's like, if we fix this can really change it. It's been something a little bit different every week.
Yeah, that has been frustrating. It's been a little frustrating with, I think, some of the things that we have done, or maybe I have allowed, or maybe I've tried to correct, as opposed to just being us up front. And when I say that, I mean, you look at the way we came off the ball in the past, and look at the way we're doing some things, and instead of just trying to fit everything and just cover things up, as opposed to coming off the football and truly playing physically and changing line of scrimmage. And those guys can do that, you know. Gatsby, Cruz, those guys can know, those guys can do that, and they can have that edge. And, you know, that game gets out of hand a little bit in the second half, obviously. And, you know, you get away from some of those things that you're actually really good at. And so that's probably maybe the most frustrating is things that maybe I've allowed to happen. And as their coach, we have to be able to get them back to what they do well.
What's some challenges?
Finish up with this one. We got to get
USC's front. Anything unique about them?
Well, yeah, they're the way they're supposed to look. I mean, they're big and they look great, long, athletic. You know, obviously they're undefeated and you know, playing really well. They've got 2 Big Ten wins under their belt, and they look the part and they play with their hands. They do a good job of shedding blocks. Those 2 edges are fantastic pass rushers. So you know, we got our work cut out for us this week. You know, there's no rest. You know, coming off of that performance last week for us, we have our work cut out, and we're gonna get back to work. We're gonna go right after them, and you know, we got to play up to our caliber, right, to be able to match what USC is going to bring to the table. So this is the Big Ten Conference. It's what everybody signed up for. So everybody knows it is, and that's the beauty of it. So we get a chance to do it again this week.